The bridge of the Sovereign fell silent as Captain Marcus Webb collapsed against the wall, his hand pressed to the jagged wound in his side. Green blood from the Keltheron assassin mixed with his own crimson, painting abstract patterns on the pristine white floor. Ambassador Lyria stood over him, her crystalline form shimmering with barely contained fury. "You fool," she hissed, her voice like wind chimes in a hurricane. "You absolute fool." Marcus coughed, tasting copper. "Nice to see you too." The ambassador's hand moved faster than thought itself. The slap echoed through the bridge, turning every head in their direction. Marcus's cheek burned with the impact, his vision swimming. "That's for being mortal," Lyria said, her voice cracking. "That's for throwing yourself in front of a blade meant for me. That's for being so pathetically fragile that a single piece of sharpened metal can end everything you are." Marcus touched his burning cheek, managing a weak smile. "Then you'll love my next trick?" He pushed himself upright, ignoring the protests of his crew, ignoring the green-black spots dancing in his vision. The wound in his side screamed with every movement, but he forced himself to stand. The Keltheron assassin's body lay crumpled near the navigation console, but Marcus knew there would be others. There were always others. "Captain, you need medical attention," Lieutenant Davis said, reaching for him. Marcus waved her off. "In a minute. Right now, we have bigger problems." The view screen flickered to life, showing the Keltheron dreadnought that had been shadowing them for 3 days. It hung in space like a promise of death, its weapons arrays glowing with barely restrained violence. Behind it, a dozen more ships emerged from hyperspace, their hulls black as the void between stars. "They found us," Lyria whispered. "How did they find us?" Marcus limped to his command chair, leaving a trail of blood behind him. "Because we're predictable. Because they know how civilized species think, how they strategize, how they run when they're scared." He dropped into the chair with a grunt of pain. "Lucky for us, humans stopped being civilized a long time ago." The Keltheran fleet began its approach, a wall of firepower that could reduce planets to ash. The Sovereign was fast, well-armed for a diplomatic vessel, but against those odds, survival seemed like a fever dream. "All hands, battle stations," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the blood soaking through his uniform. "Engineering, I need every ounce of power you can give me. Weapons, target their command ship. Navigation, plot a course directly through their formation." The bridge erupted in controlled chaos. Lyria grabbed his shoulder, her touch surprisingly gentle for someone made of living crystal. "You can't fight them," she said. "The mathematics are impossible. The Keltherans have been waging war since before my species learned to speak. They've conquered 40 systems. They've never lost a fleet engagement." Marcus looked up at her, and something in his eyes made her step back. "That's because they've never fought humans," he said. "Davis, open a channel to the Keltheran flagship." The view screen shifted, revealing Commander Throck of the Keltheron Imperial Fleet. His 4 eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction, his mandibles clicking in what might have been laughter. "Captain Webb," Throck said, "how kind of you to make this simple. Surrender the ambassador, and your crew may yet see another sunrise." "Counter-offer," Marcus said, rising from his chair despite the way his legs trembled. "You turn around, jump back to whatever rock you crawled out from under, and maybe I let you keep your ships." Throke's laughter was like grinding stone. "Your bravado is amusing, human. But I have 13 warships. You have 1 damaged cruiser and a body that's bleeding out. The equation is simple." Marcus smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "You think so? Let me tell you about humans, Throck. Let me tell you about the species you just threatened." He began walking across the bridge, his gait steadier now, despite the blood loss. Lyria watched him with something between horror and fascination. "We're not fast like the Kyrian. We're not strong like the Bronther. We don't regenerate like the Sylph or compute like the Mentari. We're slow, weak, fragile things that break when you cut us. He gestured to his wound. But we have one advantage that your species never counted on. And what is that? Throck asked, amused. We're too stupid to know when we're beaten. And too mean to care. Marcus nodded to Davis. The lieutenant's fingers flew across her console. You see, while you were gloating about your fleet, my crew was doing what humans do best. We were cheating. The view screen split, showing the Keltheran formation from multiple angles. 3 minutes ago, we launched every probe, every satellite, every piece of hardware we could fit a reactor and a warhead into. They're drifting between your ships right now, looking like debris. Throke's expression shifted. You're bluffing. Am I? Marcus asked. Here's the thing about humans, Commander. We spent 10,000 years finding new and interesting ways to kill each other. We turned murder into an art form. We built weapons that could end worlds, then built more weapons to counter those weapons. We fought wars that killed millions over pieces of land no bigger than this ship. We're really, really good at violence. The Keltheran ships began scanning, their sensors lighting up as they detected the hundreds of improvised weapons drifting through their formation. Those devices are too small to damage our armor, Throck said, but his voice had lost its certainty. Individually, sure, Marcus agreed. But I don't need to destroy your ships, Commander. I just need to blind them. Those probes are set to detonate simultaneously, releasing enough electromagnetic radiation to fry every sensor you have. And while you're flying blind, the Sovereign is going to punch through your formation at full burn. Your own ships won't be able to target us without risking friendly fire. Marcus leaned forward, his voice dropping to something cold and deadly. And then, while you're scrambling to restore your systems, 3 human battle groups are going to drop out of hyperspace right on top of you. See, the ambassador isn't just any ambassador. She's the key to an alliance between humanity and the Crystal Collective. An alliance your empire really doesn't want to see happen. Throke's mandibles clicked nervously. You would start a war over one individual? We'd start a war over a lunch order if we thought someone was being rude about it, Marcus said. But yes, Commander, we absolutely would. Because here's what you need to understand about humanity. We don't think about wars the way you do. We don't calculate odds and acceptable losses. When you threaten one of ours, you threaten all of us. And we take that personally. The wound in Marcus's side chose that moment to remind him of its existence. He swayed, catching himself on the tactical console. Lyria moved to support him, but he held up a hand. So here's how this goes, Marcus continued, forcing the words through gritted teeth. You can fight us, and maybe you win. Maybe you even kill all of us. But those battle groups will still arrive. And they'll tell every human in the galaxy what happened here. And then your empire gets to find out what happens when you make 4 billion angry primates decide you're the enemy. The bridge was silent, except for the hum of systems and Marcus's labored breathing. On the view screen, Throck was consulting with his officers, their mandibles clicking in agitated conversation. You're insane, Throck finally said. Probably, Marcus admitted. We're also armed, dangerous, and really committed to this whole not dying today thing. So what's it going to be? The Keltheran fleet held position for 30 seconds that felt like hours. Then, one by one, their weapons powered down. The dreadnought began turning away, its escort following suit. You have made a powerful enemy today, Captain Webb, Throck said. Get in line, Marcus replied. There's a waiting list. The channel closed. The Keltheran fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving only the distortion of their wake. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Marcus barely heard them. His legs finally gave out, and he fell. Lyria caught him, cradling his head as Davis called for the medical team. "You lied," Lyria said softly. "There are no battle groups coming, are there?" Marcus grinned up at her, his face pale. "Nope, but they don't know that. You could have died. You nearly did die. All for a bluff?" "Not a bluff," Marcus corrected, his voice fading. "A promise. If they'd called it, humanity would have made it true. That's the thing about us. We're too stubborn to let reality get in the way of a good threat." The medical team arrived, scanners whirring. Lyria refused to let go of him until they gently pried her crystalline fingers away. "You're impossible," she whispered. "Yeah," Marcus agreed, his eyes closing. "But we're your kind of impossible now. That's what the Alliance means. That's what mortality means. We burn fast and bright, and we drag everyone we care about into the light with us." As the medics rushed him to the infirmary, Lyria stood alone on the bridge, her hand still tingling from where she'd slapped him. She understood now why the galaxy feared humanity. Not because they were strong or fast or particularly clever, but because they were willing to bet everything, even their fragile lives, on nothing more than audacity and spite. She touched her cheek, mimicking the gesture, and despite everything, found herself smiling. Mortals indeed,